In 2026, holding cash is no longer simple. What used to feel safe now comes with real trade-offs. That cash is sitting quietly in your account could be losing value to inflation, or worse, it could be locked up or earning for life than it should when you actually need it. The truth is, cash isn't just cash anymore. Where you park it now matters almost as much as how much you hold. So let me ask you this. Where do you currently keep most of your cash? Because in 2026, being intentional about cash is a part of being a smart investor. And that's exactly what we are going to talk about next. How I think about cash in 2026. Before we talk about the specific accounts or products, it's important to step back and ask a more basic question. What is your cash actually supposed to do? In my view, cash has three jobs. First, liquidity. It needs to be there when you need it. Second, safety. It shouldn't be taking meaningful risk. And finally, an optional return. Earning something while it waits, without getting in the way of the first two. So in 2026, balancing those three is harder than it used to be. Interest rates can move quickly, used very widely across different cash options, and some things that look safe on paper now become surprisingly hard to access during periods of stress. Now that's why it also helps to be clear about purpose. Not all cash is emergency cash. Some cash is waiting to be invested. Some is set aside for known expenses. And each of those can be parked a little differently. With that framework in mind, let's walk through the main places people park cash. For many people, high-yield savings accounts are still the starting point for parking cash. These are typically online bank accounts that pay higher rates than traditional brick-and-mortar banks, while keeping things simple and familiar. The biggest advantage is safety and access. These accounts are FDIC insured. Your money is available day to day, and there's no learning curve. As cash, you can reach quickly without worrying about market swings. The trade-off is that the rate is never guaranteed. Yields can change quickly, and they often lag what's happening in the broader rate environment. And while the return helps, the inflation risk doesn't disappear. Your purchasing power can still slowly erode. That's why I see high-yield savings as best suited for true emergency cash or short-term spending buffers. Money you need immediately should prioritize access and stability over squeezing out every last bit of yield. If you want similar safety but slightly more flexibility, the next option is money market accounts and money market funds. And this is where things start to look similar on the surface, but work very differently underneath. Bank money market accounts and brokerage money market funds often get lumped together, but they are not the same. A bank money market account is still a deposit account, usually insured and structured much like savings. A money market fund, on the other hand, is an investment product held at a brokerage, designed to keep a stable value while paying a market-based yield. The appeal is usually higher yield, combined with strong liquidity. These vehicles are widely used by institutions and experienced investors to hold cash that is waiting to be deployed. In normal conditions, access is easy and the yield tends to be more competitive than basic savings. The trade-offs are important to understand. Money market funds are not FDIC insured. Their stability depends on how they are structured and what they hold. And access can vary depending on your brokerage and the specific fund. That's why I see money markets as a good fit for cash that's waiting to be invested or set aside for near-term planned expenses, not necessarily for cash you will need instantly in a crisis. Now, quick question for you. Do you know whether your money market is actually insured? Let's move to direct government-backed options, the Treasury bills and short-term Treasuries. Now, if you want to move one step closer to the source of safety, that's where Treasury bills and short-term Treasuries come in. These are short-dated government securities, typically ranging from just a few weeks up to about a year. You can buy them directly or through a brokerage account. The appeal is straightforward. They are backed by the US government. They often offer very competitive yields. And for many investors, there is an added tax benefit at the state level. For cash that has a known timeline, this can be a very clean way to preserve capital while earning a return. The trade-off is convenience. You have to think about maturity dates. When a bill matures, you need to decide what to do next. Reinvesting takes a bit of planning, and while they are still liquid, they're not quite as frictionless as cash sitting in a savings account. That's why short-term treasuries work best for planned cash needs. Money you know you won't need tomorrow, but don't want sitting idle either. But what if you want treasury exposure without managing individual bills? This is where an ETF like SGOV comes into picture. SGOV is an exchange-traded fund that holds ultra-short-term US Treasury bills and trades throughout the day, just like a stock. The appeal is convenience. You get Treasury-backed exposure, daily liquidity during market hours, and you don't have to worry about maturity or reinvesting. Yields are often competitive with money market funds, and because the underlying holding are treasuries, there can be state tax advantages as well. The trade-offs are subtle but important. Unlike a savings account, the price can move slightly from day to day. There is no FDIC insurance. You need a brokerage account, and the fund charges a small expense ratio. None of these are deal breakers, but they are part of the cost of simplicity. From a risk perspective, duration risk is minimal and credit risk is very low, since the holdings are short-term government debts. Liquidity is generally strong, but it does depend on market conditions and trading hours. Compared to a high-yield savings account, SGOV can offer higher potential yield, but with a bit more complexity. Compared to money market funds, it offers very transparent treasury exposure. And compared to buying T-bills directly, it's much easier to manage, though you give up precise control over maturity timing. So here is a question for you. Would you be comfortable holding some of the cash in an ETF? For longer dated needs, some people still looked at time-locked options. Another traditional option for parking cash is certificates of deposits, or CDs. These are time-based deposits where you agree to lock your money up for a set period in exchange for a known return. The appeal is predictability. You know exactly what you're going to earn. The principal is protected by FDIC insurance and CDs can work well when you have a fixed timeline. For example, money you will need in 6 months or a year. The downside is flexibility. Once your money is locked in, getting it out early usually means paying a penalty. And if interest rates rise during that period, you're stuck earning yesterday's rate, which creates an opportunity cost. Because of that, CDs tends to make the most sense for conservative savers or for cash tied to known future expenses, where certainty matters more than liquidity. Finally, let's talk about where most investors actually hold cash. For most investors, cash sits by default in a brokerage account, often in what's called sweep or core cash program. This is account's default cash position, ready to fund trades or sit idle until you decide otherwise. The convenience is undeniable. You can access it instantly for buying stocks, ETFs, or other investments. And you don't have to think much about moving money around. The downside is these default programs rarely pay competitive yields. Sometimes the yield is opaque, and most of the time, it's not optimized for earning potential. You might be leaving money on the table simply by letting it sit there. The key lesson here is simple. Default options are rarely optional. Knowing your choices and taking a moment to allocate cash intentionally can make a meaningful difference over time. With all these choices, where do I personally keep my cash? Here's what I do. When I think about cash in 2026, I don't treat it as a single pile of money. Instead, I break it into different buckets based on purpose. The first bucket is emergency cash, the money that has to be available immediately for unexpected expenses. A high-yield savings account works well. It's simple, accessible, and safe. While the second bucket is opportunity cash, funds set aside to act quickly when a compelling investment or purchase arises. Now for this, I often use SGOV or a money market fund. They provide liquidity, competitive use, and a clear connection to short-term Treasury exposure. Finally, there is a cash earmarked for short-term planned spending or known future expenses. Here, short-term Treasuries or certificates of deposit can make sense, offering stability and predictable returns without sacrificing capital. The key takeaway is that a cash strategy should be intentional, not accidental. Allocating purposefully helps you balance liquidity, safety, and yield without leaving money sitting idle. Here is how to think about choosing what's right for you. To wrap up everything we have covered, it helps to step back and compare the main cash options side by side. Think of it as a simple framework. Each option has a balance of safety, liquidity, yield potential, tax treatment, and an ideal use case. For example, a high-yield savings account scores high on liquidity and safety, but offers modest yield. Treasury bills and short-term treasuries provide strong safety and predictable returns, but require some planning. SGOV and money market funds offer a combination of liquidity and competitive yield with slightly more complexity. Certificate of deposit give you certainty over a fixed timeline at the cost of flexibility. And default brokerage cash is convenient but rarely optimized for return. The purpose of this table is to make it easy to see which options align with your own priorities. Are you focused on instant access, predictable returns, or slightly higher yield with minimal risk? By using this framework, you can make intentional choices about where your cash lives, rather than leaving it to default or habit. As we wrap up, the key takeaway is this. Cash isn't just dead money sitting in an account. It's a strategy. How you allocate it can make a meaningful difference over time, especially in 2026. When small differences in yield or liquidity can add up. Thoughtful cash placement isn't about chasing the highest rate. It's about matching your money to its purpose. Emergency needs, planned expenses, or opportunity cash. So every dollar works where it's most effective. If you found this helpful, give the video a like and subscribe for more insights on investing and managing cash in 2026. I would also love to hear from you in the comments. Where do you keep your cash right now? Would you consider something like SGOV? Let's together make better financial decisions.